Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiakos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I gonna sign or no for Olympiakos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω, ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα μαλάκα!
Σ' αγαπώ πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
What's up, guys? Gate 7 International back again. Sunday edition. Love the Sundays on the eve of a 2-0 win. Halloween is tomorrow also, so a lot of fun stuff to get excited for. And a big game next weekend following up against Panathinaikos. But we're going to focus on what happened today. Boys, 4 of us in here today. I can't remember the last time all 4 of us were on a show together. So how's everyone feeling? Kostas, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Can't complain. Back to winning ways in Greece. We'll get into it.
Kostas, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I would like to take this moment to wish you, Ari, the happiest of birthdays. I'm wishing you many, many happy returns. I'm wishing you the best to you and your wonderful family. You've done the podcast very proud. You've helped us a lot with your amazing work, taking time out of your career and raising a wonderful child. And I'm calling on all of our wonderful fans to take this moment and share your loveliest and most positive happy birthdays to our good friend Ari. Ari, happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Χρόνια πολλά.
I will say, answering this question, I will say happy birthday, Adi. But the description of Adi's son, I don't know. He was a bit mean when we were in the pool. He's a nice kid, but he was being very mean. He wouldn't eat his peanut butter snack. He wouldn't swim. You know, he's a picky baby, you know.
Do you remember when
I think I need to be around him more. I think that's the problem. I need to emit my excellence onto the baby. So then he'll eat his peanut butter snacks and swim like a champion. But anyway, guys.
Labro, you're here to rant about Olympiakos.
Anyway, I'll answer the question. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. I cut myself while shaving this morning. That sucked. Washed the car, vacuumed the car. It's a rainy day today. It's not great. But you know what? Olympiakos won. El Arabi ran a bit. He's looking good. Marcelo ran a bit. Life's good, guys. Life's good, you know. I'm on the podcast, drinking my red wine. Life is good.
That it is. Life is really good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody in the comments. I really appreciate it. 33 going on 60. That's how I feel, at least. I'm getting older. The bones are aching more and more. But let's get to it. Let's get to everything. But first and foremost, if you haven't done so already, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're also broadcasting today on Twitch. So if anybody hops in on Twitch, thank you guys for joining us. Expanding the podcast through as many networks as we can. Help us continue to grow the red and white community. For those of you that may be looking to ship, whether you're shipping from the United States, from the UK, from Australia, anywhere in Europe, you're trying to move to Greece or anywhere else, give our friends a call at Piraeus International. They can handle all of your transshipping needs internationally, whatever it needs to be, wherever it's got to go. Give them a call. www.piraeusintl.com is the website. 410-675-4696 is the phone number. And lastly, BetUS. Guys, Costa and I we won money again. We got our bets right again. Lambro still hasn't gotten.
Here we go. I fucking knew it. I knew it was coming. Fucking knew it. After I got blasted on Twitter. Fucking bullshit. I'm going to spend more time on these bets.
Bullshit. So if you want to bet along with us, use our promo code GATE7INTL at betus.com.pa. Share your bets with us. We give you guys a lot of insights that we are going to continue to help you guys make better bets. With the World Cup coming up, we have some fun segments planned as well, where we can help you make bets and hopefully make you guys a little bit of money. Again, the promo code is GATE7INTL, and you can use it at betus.com.pa. We also put posts on socials with a link that will take you directly to the page you have to go to, and you can enter the information there. You can turn your deposit. If it's $100, it'll turn into $225 because they matched your deposit 125%. So take advantage of the extra money and check it out at betus.com.pa. Well, let's get into it.
Bet responsibly.
Yes, play responsibly always.
Unless you just bet against the opposite of what I do, you'll be like a millionaire in 3 weeks or something. Just like Labro puts over 3.5 goals. You're like, oh shit, there's going to be less than 3.5 goals for sure. Like that's your easiest way to make money. Just see what I say, do the opposite. So
people are happy you're back, Labro. Manos is.
It's good to see you guys. It's been a while. It's been a chaotic time. So it's good to be back.
Should we talk football?
Let's do it. Let's talk some football now, boys. 2-0 victory. The game, by all accounts, it was very comfortable. I thought the score could have been higher. There were definitely some opportunities for more goals to be scored. But how did you guys like the setup today? We had a tough draw on Thursday, which saw us get kicked out of Europe. Was this the rebound we needed going into Leoforos? Lambro, you can start this time.
No, I want to start saying thank you for everyone for being here. I realized the 50 Cent Argyros concert is tonight in Athens, and you guys chose to be here instead of at the concert. I wouldn't have missed it. Personally, if I was in the city, I would be there. But let me start by saying last week I may have tweeted some very explosive things on the Twitter podcast account after the 10th, 90th minute goal we've conceded. I was a bit upset. But I think I haven't been on the pod in a long time. I'll say slowly but surely, I'm starting to see some progress in the team, some quality come out. Most importantly, fitness to come about in the team. I think the team all together is playing much better. I think the team is getting some stability in many parts of it. I think what we're seeing, personally, I'm enjoying to see Pascal Lekis in goal. I never thought the day would come. He's offering stability. Who would have thought? Is that like who? It's like the opposite. It's like the opposite. When you think Pascal Lekis, you think stability, you know, like he always did the crazy shit, whatever. But Doi also is looking really good in defense. Like the assist on the goal today was incredible. Like incredible, just pinged it with his right foot. Bakambu got behind the defender. We just need to figure out another partner with him. Who would have thought Andreas Doi going into this season would be the consistent central defender for Olympiakos? At the right, I think Avia is slowly starting to build up form as well. I still don't think he's that good, but like at this point, we just need consistency. On the other side, at the left, I think the left side of Olympiakos is in shambles, to be honest. Like I've seen no progress on the left side of the team. Oleg Ryabchuk is so fucking shit. Like I don't know how to explain it anymore. Like I've run out of words to explain the guy. Like it destroys logic that he still plays for Olympiakos. Like it's Costa's getting excited. No, it's not going to be a rant, but it's like Andreas Doi is like 19 years old, and this shouldn't be our expectations of every youth player, but just like walks into the team and does better. And it's like, surely Doron Leitner, or even some kid from the academy, even Rusai. We didn't have a show on Thursday night because we were all quite busy, but Rusai played like better at left back than Oleg has all season. Kutris, I think statistically, like outperformed Oleg in that one appearance with Pasianina or Giannikos or something than Oleg has all season. And it's just like, there's no logic behind Oleg still playing for the club at the moment, but I don't want to focus in on that. Moving further up the pitch, I think Samaseku is very good. Very good. I think he's going to win a spot in the team very quickly. Imbom Huang is fantastic. I don't need to say anything else. Like for me, he was close to man of the match today. I know whoever did the match ratings, I think Costa, he was like close, tied with James Rodriguez. He was fantastic for me. And then, yeah, moving up onto the pitch, you see, I think Biel and James are starting to figure out a relationship, and Bakambu is being solid, and El Arabi's in form. We're really just looking for one more piece at winger and some more depth at winger, to be honest with you. And that's my analysis of the team. Since it's been a while since I've been on the pod, I'm kind of trying to put it all into one commentary here, but slowly but surely I'm starting to see consistency, and the class and the talent within the team is starting to come out. And I know today wasn't 4-0 win, but there were moments where you were like watching today and you're like, this is really good football. Like, I haven't seen this in months to years. So there was a chance there at the end of the game where Marcelo pinged the ball from the left to the right, and then it went down to Valbuena, and it was interlinking play with Biel, I think, and Valbuena ended up putting in a cross, and it didn't turn into anything. But I just remember that from the game and being like, what? I haven't seen this in so long, So slowly but surely things are changing, and maybe going out of Europe is the best thing to happen to Olympiakos all season. So anyway, that's my opinion.
That's an interesting point. Costa K, what were your thoughts on the game today?
Hello, guys, again. So basically, let's take this from the beginning. Olympiakos manager Mitchell opted for a 4-2-3-1 formation with Paschalakis in goal, Avila at right back, and Reabchuk on the other side. Andreas Doi and Hussein Uba at centre back. Inbom Huang and Diadier Samaseku making his first start for Olympiakos in midfield. Pep Biel on the right, Yorgos Masouras on the other side, James Rodriguez at number 10, with Cedric Bakambu spearheading the attack. Obviously, there was the injury of Ba on the 11th minute after his red card against Freiburg. A quick little parenthesis here. I've never said this before, but I'll say it about Ba. I've never said this about another player. I think Ba's contract needs to be terminated. I think that the guy has become a meme player. He's become a real liability at Olympiakos. The whole red card thing was funny at start, but now it's just a meme. I think his time has come to an end at Olympiakos, and I doubt Olympiakos can even find a team willing to buy him, my opinion. But anyway, Olympiakos made quick work of Lamia. They didn't struggle today. It was an easy victory. Felt like one of those good old days at the Karaiskaki. They could have scored more goals. Opened the scoring on the 22nd minute with the craziest header I can personally remember, especially when it comes to Olympiakos. Inbom Huang delivering a rather interesting cross down the right. James Rodriguez beating Saranov with the craziest header I have ever seen in my entire life. And Cedric Bakambu basically ending the game for Olympiakos, sealing the 3 points just 6 minutes later. Incredible cross by Andreas Doi from his own from defense. To be fair, though, Adejo's marking was appalling, and Bakambu beat Adejo for the ball, and he basically sealed the 3 points. Other than that, some very big chances missed by Youssef El Arabi. Pep Biel had a couple of good chances himself. A bit of a worry with Mathieu Valbuena, who was favoring his groin on the 80th minute. So yeah, a very positive performance. Olympiakos needed that. They needed that comfortable win for many, many reasons, including morale and confidence. But to answer your question, Ari, I mean, to be honest, I feel like those kind of wins against the Ionikos, the Panetolikos, the Lamias of this Super League season, they feel like quick fixes because Olympiakos haven't won a single big match this season. They haven't won a big match situation. All the European qualifiers, they failed to win within 90 minutes or extra time. They lost both of their derbies, if you count Aris as a derby game. They didn't win any single game in the Europa League group stages. And that, I mean, Ari, you've played in semi-pro, and Costa definitely played in semi-pro. And I would like your opinion on that when your analysis comes. Big match wins are very important for a team's morale and confidence. And the more they struggle to pick up those kind of wins, doesn't matter how many times they beat the minnows. If they don't beat the big teams, the big games, they don't win the big games, that can really have a really negative effect on a team's morale and confidence, which is why it is extremely important for Olympiakos to beat Panathinaikos next weekend, in my opinion.
Costa C, do you want to address that? I think you're muted, buddy. Every time.
Sorry, that never gets old. The season's been like a pendulum. It's just been like this, back and forth. There are moments where we've we've thought, okay, there are reasons to be happy, and then straight back down to earth again. And when you're in a dressing room with so many players, and not everyone's clear on their role, they're still figuring it out. 2 coaches, third coach. I mean, when you don't get the results that you need, then it's not the happiest of places. Camaraderie is important. It really does count going into the big games, and you can be sure that Panathinaikos next week are going to be up for it. It's a built team from last year with a few pieces added on top. Anyhow, I think we've talked about this before. So the short answer to that question is it's very important. Looking at the game today, comfortable victory, as we've said. I think it's one of those games, of course, where you expect more than 2-0. Would have liked to get a third, get a fourth. We had the chances to do that, but we didn't convert. The simple truth here is that there's simply too much quality in our team for this type of game, that you have to be beating the Lamias of this league 3-4-0 tarifa, as we say in Greek. Honestly, just to touch on Labro's point as well, the left side was horrific. Passing straight to the opponent, both Oleg and Masouras today. Literally, I remember instances, both of them just had the ball, tried to play it forward, and passed it straight to an opponent. It's hard for me to put into words just how I describe our left side right now when those two are playing. It's something that worries me going into a game like next week. But you saw the difference immediately when we played with 3 10s behind the striker. And I think this is really a discussion that needs to be had, because we don't have any wingers, or we have wingers and we don't want to play them because they're loanees and they're not going to be here for the long run. And the coach wants to settle on his squad of players that are going to be here, that are fully dedicated, and their minds are 100% on Olympiakos and where they are right now, and not Nottingham Forest next season, or not how I can get back into Marseille's team or whatever. So I would like to see Valbuena, Rodriguez, and Biel playing behind the striker as something that we see more in the Greek league. I mean, we're going to get into more details on specific players, but that's my main point, I think, for Greece. And maybe last point, touching on the last thing that Labro said about Europe. I think it's been a blessing and a curse looking back, because if we didn't qualify for Europa League, we wouldn't have been able to attract players like Pep Biel, like James Rodriguez, like Marcelo. They probably would not have come if we hadn't gone through what we went through the way we went through it too. Let's not forget, we've qualified for the Europa League, going through 2 games that went to penalty shootouts. So that should have already given us, it was a signal to us that this is how it's going to be. Anyone that thought this group was going to be breeze, I mean, look where we're at. So it was a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because we got those players that we did. It's a curse because we had too many players, and some of those players like Bakambu, like James Rodriguez, they couldn't play in Europe. And we ended up playing different starting 11 in Europe, different starting 11 in Greece. It hasn't helped us to gel as a team, the players to learn each other, to make connections, something we talked about in the last episode. So yeah, that's my long and short analysis of where we are now.
To touch on Costa K's question first, for me at least, I do get what you're saying, that you have to have the result in these big games. That's 100% true. But I know at least the experiences that I had when we were competing in whether it was regionals or even at some of the tournaments, the showcases, maybe you don't get as big of a morale boost from beating a team you should be beating, but I can tell you, if you don't beat them, the morale dip or the morale loss is worse, because then it's all right. Sometimes if you're playing a really good team or a team like a rival and you lose, okay, it's our rival, these are tough games. It hits differently. But you lose to a team like Lamia or draw to a team like Lamia, it's worse because, my God, what are we doing? We can't even beat them. Then it starts creating all sorts of self-doubt. And that's what worries me more in that context than those larger games. But you're 100% right. But there is value to winning these games, not just because you have to, but because you don't want the wrong side of the mentality issue to creep in. You win, you make it comfortable, because then everything starts looking forward. That's the important part. You don't want to. It's not that you're looking at the positives of what you get from this, but you're looking at avoiding the negatives, if that makes any sense. Now, as far as the game went today, I'm in agreement overall with kind of what everyone has brought up. We've brought up so many times the left side of the field. We also threw up the part that Costa and I did on the show last week, where we were discussing why there's no reason for Oleg for Doran Ledner not to be playing. And I still attest the same thing today after what we saw with Oleg. And there were people that get upset with the player ratings when we give Oleg the player ratings he get, which today it wasn't even bad. Like Costa, you gave him a 6, it's not bad. It's like for me, it's a starting point. I know your starting point, I think, is 6.5, but still, he's had worse ratings. And yes, we understand. Trust me, we track how much he plays as much as everybody else does. This is game number 95 now, I believe, right? It was 93 on the last Sunday, 94. I guess he didn't start, but still, he made an appearance because he got subbed in. So 95 games now he's played for Olympiakos in less than 2 years. We track that and we understand it, but you need performances. So it's not just his fault, obviously, because the coach and the team continues to use him over and over again. But I will say what I said again. And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'll even show you the same thing I showed you again. There's 2 charts we showed that make all of this, that explain everything. Here's the first one. The left side is where our attacks come from. We receive the most attacks, or the most dangerous attacks, and the most volume of dangerous attacks against us on the left side. And then look at our attacks. Where's the weak link? The left side. Our left side offers us the least amount in attack. And don't forget, a third of those attacks came in Kutris's 1 game in Pasianina. That should tell all of you something. So I understand that some of you think that we can be a little bit harsh on Oleg, and I get that because the guy plays a lot. I'm going to say it one more time. You can be bionic and still not be good enough. You can be bionic and not be performing to where we need. It's okay. There's no mutual exclusivity here. And it's not to throw shade on Oleg. He could be getting overused. That's fine. But then why aren't you playing Doran Ledner? The left side's already the worst side. Oh, he doesn't play defense. Bullshit. I don't buy that argument. Our left side's already weak defensively. It's time he plays. I've been a proponent of this all season. So yeah. It is what it is on that respect. And you saw it again today. Our left side was so weak. And he's not the only culprit. Masouras was a culprit. Masouras was a culprit in Europe too. He's another one. The guy hustles all day. He makes great runs getting in behind the defender, stuff that we talk about all the time. But guess what? When you miss all your final balls, or when Bakambu, that series of play that came from the right side, and it was played to Masouras, Bakambu was away at goal if Masouras makes the pass. Whiffed it entirely. Then he gets the ball to the byline. Pep Biel played him. He runs to the byline. Then Pep Biel's sitting at the penalty area, waiting for the ball to be played back to him. And what does Masouras do? He just crosses it and overhits it again. This is the stuff on the left side. These are the problems. You have to fix that and play other people there. The Masouras thing, okay, we don't have a lot of productive wingers. All right, maybe that's a harder problem. But the Oleg issue, the left back issue, Doran Ledner. And I see somebody bringing up the passport. The passport doesn't prevent him from playing in Greece. That was a prevention in Europe only. Now, we know that the previous coach didn't rate him. That seemed pretty clear to me. Maybe Michel doesn't rate him now either. I don't believe it's an excuse.
Yeah.
He needs to play.
Okay.
Yeah, but the whole passport thing's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that was just it was filling the papers for a few weeks. Like, oh, maybe he can't play because of the passport. No, that's bullshit. He could play as a foreigner. It's a choice.
Yeah,
it was a choice. And we did a segment on Doran Ledner, and you can find it on our channel. Subscribe, guys, if you're new to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. You won't miss future episodes. Hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And yeah, after we're finished here, go back and check out that segment on Doran Ledner. Ari and I talked about that for 10 minutes. You can go back and listen to that again.
Can I want to touch about something you talked about earlier, the part about the little teams and beating them. Carlos Corberán didn't go down because he lost embarrassingly with Nantes away. He lost because he failed to beat Asteras Tripoli and because he failed to beat Volos at home. And then he lost away at Aris. But the wins versus the small teams are so important because they also build chemistry, and it's something that when you hear former players of Olympiakos talk, and also it's something with, now that I've had the chance to speak with some players of Olympiakos past, present, it's something they talk about against some of these smaller teams in Greece. You can build more chemistry, build more confidence with yourself, because maybe you have a step or two more to do something tricky or play interplay or do something with a teammate. It's these sort of games where you can sort of build up confidence, try something you wouldn't try, so when it's a big game and a derby and you can't hear yourself think, you do something.
And Labros,
I completely dropped my mic.
Now you're back. You got overexcited.
I got very excited, but I don't know. Fuck me. What am I doing here tonight?
That wasn't even a rant. That wasn't even a rant. He was just talking.
I don't know if oh god. Okay, the audio's back. Anyway, I've been drinking too much. I haven't. Anyway, my main point is really like you build up confidence in these games, and for a lot of players, it's more about building up kind of like Daniel Podenza. I remember doing this when he first started at Olympiakos. He would really use those small team games to build up confidence. He would really just like try little tricks. He would try 1-2s, try interplay, blah, blah, blah. And that's how things go. Overall, going into the game with Panathinaikos next week, I just want to say a lot of people on Twitter, and when I text you guys, like everything's all shit. Like everything sucks. We suck, blah, blah, blah. We suck, blah, blah, blah. The trend is positive. The trend in Germany was positive now that I've had time to think about it. Going there and playing Freiburg, who I think is like third or fourth place in Germany, and basically outplaying them in Germany in that first half and thinking like, oh, fuck, we should have beaten them 2 or even 3-0. That's big for a team that could barely beat like fucking Apollona, Limassol, and Slovan Bratislava and Nantes a month ago. We're building something here. The game with PAOK was a step back, but when you look at the data, you rewatch the game and you think about it a bit more. Okay, we didn't finish our chances, but Olympiakos was so much better. And now with the playoff, you play like 50 derbies. Like there's going to be a chance to win back these points. We just need to look at the overall trend. Yes, some shit is still really bad. Versailles sucks big time. Masouras is tragic. Oleg is a loser. But like overall, the rest of it, when those losers came off on the left side, Mathieu and fucking Marcelo came on, we saw fucking ball. Like we saw something, I swear to God, I have not seen in 2 years at Olympiakos. I was sitting there like at 7:30 in the morning because I'm out here in the West Coast in the United States, like stunned. I like couldn't believe what the fuck I was watching. Even Marcelo, I didn't know he could run. Like this is very mean. Like I didn't know he could run. He could run. He ran tonight. Good for him. but more importantly was the fucking spreading of the ball. He put that ball onto his left foot and swung it across the field. And when you do that, you keep players a bit more honest, like Ari, Costa, like whatever. You guys can talk about this more, but like people start to creep. You know, Oleg Reabchuk cannot switch the fucking ball. Like technically he's limited. When you have a player who like literally in 2 seconds can just like pop it on his left foot and switch the ball into the right, like you think that makes it harder to play as defenders? I don't know. Anyway.
Stop!
Go on. Sorry.
That switch from the left-hand side, the diagonal ball across the field to the right, to who was it?
Yeah.
To Biel's foot or to Avila, whoever was overlapping, like the 35, 40-yard crossfield ball. It was like, oh, don't even start comparing Oleg.
No, but what I mean is like when you play against
ridiculous.
defenders and you sit back, like it makes such a huge difference to when you have players who can do that. Or even when you're on the side, like you're on Marcelo and Valbuena's side on that left, and you have two players who you know can just
boom, that's pure class. But that's pure class. And you can do that in Greece. That's what I was saying before. You can put those players in the Greek league against those kinds of teams all day long. Can they play in a high intensity game though against the bigger opponents? Would he dare? Like, would the coach dare to put Marcelo in a game like Leoforos next week? Does he start him? No, he's going to start Oleg. And people are still going off at the whole Doran Ledner thing, but I think the Marcelo piece is something we're underestimating here because we bought him to play left back. He finally played left back today. He exceeded my expectation because I'm with Lavro in the sense that I don't think he's anywhere near fit. But when I saw him in the first 5 minutes dive for that ball, that tackle that he made, it's like, what? Is that for me? It said a lot about his hunger, his desire. Like, if he's there and he doesn't care, you know, he's there to just play a year and go and play MLS. There's already some rumors about him going to play in the States. Like, we saw things from Marcelo today that fans enjoy. That's why fans go to the stadium. Like, see a tackle like that, crossfield ball, like just the touches, everything was pure class. So you just hope it keeps improving and that his fitness improves with over time. That's the best that we can hope for.
I'm not giving up on Marcelo. I'm not giving up on Marcelo, guys. I know it's been a tough one. It's been a tough start. He didn't play much for Real last season. He came in very late, so he obviously needed time to adapt. I'm not giving up on Marcelo, and I mean it's important that Olympiakos don't as well because they're paying a lot of money for him, and they made a whole show out of him. There has never ever been a player that joined Olympiakos and Olympiakos put together a show at the Karaiskaki just for this one player. I'm not giving up. The guy's career speaks for itself. Yeah. His talent speaks for itself. And I also like the way he looked on the bench and on the pitch. He had this vibe about him. He was happy. He was having a good time on the bench after James's opener. He was basically dancing to the Olympiakos song. When he came in, he missed the chance, and he was talking to James. He was saying, like, you know, bring it to the chest, man. Next time we'll do it. Like, it's good. It shows a bit of leadership as well. It's like, no, calm down. We'll get this. We'll get it next time. I'm not giving up on the guy. I'm definitely not giving up on him.
None of us gave up. I personally never gave up.
Yeah. Nobody gave up, but none of us did. A lot of fans did. None of us. And that's why I'm bringing this up.
But also, I want to say real quick, like someone in the comments said, playing Marcelo against Panathinaikos wingers. For fuck's sake, the guy was playing against like Neymar and Messi, and you're going to be like, oh, fucking Bernard, like what a shit show. Like this guy, can he do it against fucking Bernard? Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Bernard, like, I know he's not fit, but it's also a bit of, let's be real here. Defensively, it was not always his best thing, but
it's a fitness thing, though.
Yeah, it's a fitness thing. If he were fit, you could do it, but he's not fit, so you can't do that.
But the question of like, ooh, can he do it against Panathinaikos wingers? Like he was doing it in the Champions League against some of the biggest stars in the world 2-3 years ago. You would hope he can still do that, That's why they brought him here. But like, you can't be like, we need Oleg in Leoforos. Like, he knows how to defend. Oleg doesn't even. Oh God! Like, don't get me started. But you know what I mean.
Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll right now. Labro, do you start him next week?
After what I saw, I'm debating it. I'm actually debating it, and I think Oleg is such a negative. Yes, almost. I'm almost there, because Oleg Rebchuk is almost like playing with 10 men. He's that bad at this point. I don't know what has happened to him. He was never my favorite player, but like, now it's just horrific. Having Marcelo there, the calmness, this guy's played in the new comp in huge derbies. Like, I don't know, just having this player there, a star, and maybe I saw something out of him. But again, it was only 25 minutes. I would have started him tonight. I would have started him today just to see. But so maybe, I don't know.
Ari?
So I would still, for Panathinaikos, I am sticking with Oleg, only because I don't know if you guys watched that game against Volos, and it's not that Panathinaikos is like a high flying offensive team, but they're very efficient with the chances they get. I mean, these guys, their team has been outperforming. They're outperforming. If you take XG, whatever, they're outperforming everything. But what they do get a lot, and this is maybe an explanation of where their success is coming from. They are, and I haven't gone through all the teams to confirm this, but so far, all the teams I've gone through, Panathinaikos has the largest ratio of shots inside the penalty area of any other team in Greece, including Olympiakos. So Olympiakos, as you guys have seen, we're not performing to our XG. We're not finishing enough where we should be. That's something we've been talking about all season. But even with that in mind, Panathinaikos gets more opportunities inside the penalty area. And that's huge. They're very efficient creating opportunities, even if they're not winning or possessing the ball 60% of the time. Even against Volos. Volos was possessing it. It was very close. I don't think it was 50-50, but it was like 55-45. So it wasn't much different. But what Panathinaikos does, which Volos didn't do, and what we don't do, is they get a lot of opportunities in the penalty area. And unfortunately, if we had we didn't give somebody else a chance in one of these games today, or in the game against Lamia, Panathinaikos. So we don't have the luxury of trying that. We know Marcelo can't last more than for 90 minutes total. And I think to start in a balanced way, I think we have to start with Oleg, even though we've seen already the left side is not the best defensively. Those wingers for Panathinaikos, again, I'm not going to say they're amazing, because they're not, but they're effective. Their team is effective. They are their whole is greater than the sum of their parts. Just like we said with Karabag when we had Patrick Kasky on here. So I'm sticking with Oleg just because we have to, especially away. It's a more conservative approach, but we don't have another choice because we didn't give anybody else a chance to see if there's momentum to build off of.
Ari, I think that's a good point. We're forced to, not because, let's say, we're into it, but because Michel didn't give anyone else a chance to prove going into the derby that they could do it. So now you're at a point where you can't throw, Dorian Leidner's never going to play, but like, you can't throw him in the deep end. Maybe you can play Versailles. I don't see it. Like, he started in Germany with Versailles. Maybe he goes and does that. I don't know. But one thing I'm thinking about as we talk about this, is this the biggest derby with Panathinaikos in how long? Like, when was the last time we had such a big derby where so much was on the line? Like, I literally cannot remember.
Probably 2011. Guys, Olympiakos cannot lose to Panathinaikos. I mean, if anything, Olympiakos have to beat Panathinaikos. I cannot remember at this juncture any team ever being able to recover from a 13-point or 10-point deficit and become champions. Obviously, the playoffs are a big X factor because there's at least 2 more derbies with each of your rivals. But Olympiakos cannot afford to lose this one. 13 points, that's going to be That's going to be huge, guys. I can't see this Olympiakos having a near perfect record until the end of the season against this near perfect Panathinaikos side. They have to win. So to answer this question, I agree with Aris. Like, the management has been really poor at the left back situation. There's 4 left backs. Only one of them has been playing still. The other 3 haven't even got a sniff. Koutris, I don't even know what he's doing there anymore. Marcelo arrived late and ended up, I just said what I think about Marcelo. Leitner, the whole passport situation is absolute nonsense, and there's a great mystery surrounding that. So you start the Reabchuk, in my opinion, but we need to have a vision of bringing in Marcelo as an impact sub, like Mathieu Valbuena comes in as an impact sub at the second half at some point. But regardless, guys, Olympiakos need to be very careful with Panathinaikos. They can't lose this game. If they lose this game, in my opinion, it's lights out for the league. From then on, second place. And Olympiakos need it for morale. They need it for confidence ahead of the World Cup break. They need to approach the World Cup break with something huge from the first half of the season. Like, we beat Panathinaikos, we got this one big win. We can do this, guys. Olympiakos need to win this. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. And there's a couple questions in the chat that I think we should address. Here's one here. Mono Street said, guys, I saw you posted about Ledner before the game. Did you have any info if whether he would get some time or no? What to expect from this story? So this, and then I saw a comment further up. There was a comment that somebody had made saying that maybe Ledner was lazy in training. That's why Michel doesn't rate him. Other people brought up that Verveles has talked about how Michel doesn't rate Ledner. So I can let you guys know that we had an inkling he probably wasn't going to play today. Disappointing, but we had an inkling that was probably not going to happen. But I can tell you that he's not lazy. This kid trains really hard. From everything that we've heard, he's a talented player. We've heard very positive things about what he does in training. So we can tell you that he's not lazy. This isn't a case that we've heard about like, what was it? Was it Chumich?
Kenny Lala.
Yeah, Kenny Lala, or I think Chumich, they talked about him kicking stones at training with Pedro Martins. But yeah, so that's don't believe, if anybody's telling you that, don't believe it. Everything we've heard, it's nothing but positive about this kid, which is what makes this whole thing even more difficult. And you know what? Maybe there could be a couple of things at play there. We brought it up. You have Marcelo, who the club is invested in for multiple reasons, not just marketing and things like that. That could be something that he's thinking about, and he doesn't want to have three left backs on the roster. I mean, but at this point, every time we see the team sheet, we only have like 4 defenders that go on the team sheet. It's like 12 midfielders, and then a few forwards. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal personally. But yeah, that's the situation regarding Doran Ledner. We all hope that we get to see him sooner rather than later. He is young. He is a young kid, guys. Don't forget. So I hope that he sticks through it, because I believe he'll be something valuable for Olympiakos moving forward, and he'll be a valuable asset for the club. There's talent there, and we'll see it. Once we see it, and once everybody sees it on the pitch, I believe then we'll start to see, hey, this kid needs to play more, and it'll get better from there.
Isn't it amazing how, I mean, this kid's never played before, and there's so much love for Doran Ledner. But again, this is a player that we paid $2 million for, plus add-ons. He's got a 4-year contract. And something that does spring to my mind in all this story is, you think of Kostas Tsimikas. How long did Tsimikas have to wait for his chance? A while.
Yeah.
More than a season. Hopefully not going to be like that with Ledner, but we saw what happened with Tsimikas. Tsimikas got his opportunity when Koutris got injured and never looked back.
And then don't forget, he actually had lost his spot the previous season to Koutris for the second half of the season. in most games in that that first Pedro Martin season.
He did,
and he lost it, then came back and won it back.
Yeah.
You guys are wrong, though. Doran Leidner is not Greek, and Doran Leidner is not from the academy of Olympiakos. Doran Leidner came to Olympiakos to play.
That's true.
Doran Leidner had chances from other teams abroad. Like, he's not here to wait and see. You know what I mean? Like, he
signed a 4-year contract, Labro.
He did,
and Olympiakos isn't going to sell him. They bought him for 2 million.
2 million.
His value is probably dropping. His value is probably dropping now because he's not playing. He's going to lose his place in the Israeli national team. Sorry to say it, but he's kind of stuck right now. He signed a 4-year deal.
But is he
probably
willing
going
to
try
wait
and
and
loan
see?
him to Larissa or some shitty team in the Greek league over Christmas? That's one interpretation. But I honestly do think that when they have a preseason, like preseason 2.0 during the World Cup, he'll, hopefully a bid comes in for Oleg. They sell him as well. But I can't believe that the incompetence is that high, or that it's so bad internally that they're going to piss this down the toilet after paying 2.5 million for this player. I refuse to believe it. If they do, it's on them. It's on them, and it will end up like all the other players that we've signed, and they've ended up going elsewhere and making a names for themselves. And we look at them and think, oh my God, like what we had and what we lost.
You know what Olympiakos could really use right now? Fucking Philip Zinkernagel on the left wing.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'd play him in his actual position on the right.
Exactly.
Please, no more
out of position. No more out of position.
I don't know. I would still take him over fucking Masouras, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
But also, this whole Doran Leidner thing. At least Oleg will be going to the World Cup with Moldova. I'm just joking.
I got a question. I got a question for the panel. Should Mitchell rest players against Nantes? I mean, it's done. The goose is
cooked.
That's
a good question.
And Panathinaikos is a game that Olympiakos simply have to win.
Wait, when do we play Nantes? On Thursday?
Thursday, yeah, he should. The game means nothing for us. Like, okay, the Greek coefficient, like, there's no coefficient argument. There's no argument that would tell me not to do that. Like, the Greek coefficient this season is already screwed. It's done. We have not covered it all this season because of how dark the outlook has been. And Olympiakos being crappy in the group stage just didn't make anything better. So
we're like
garbage.
Behind Belarus this season, I think. We're like next to Belarus or something. We're like 38, 37.
It's really bad. It's really bad. Forget, and like I don't even want to look at it or talk about it. I just want to focus on the fact that there's 2 Champions League spots at the end of the season, and that's all I'm going to look forward to. But yeah, we should. I would rather just like play the academy kids against Nantes, see what happens. I don't like the game literally means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Rest the starters, and that's it. Prepare for Panathinaikos. That's what he should do.
I think you have to rest the likes of Oleg and Vrusai and Masouras and
you're trying to be funny now, Love.
No, they're gonna be important on the weekends. We're gonna need them fresh. You have to rest Bouchalakis, I think. So he's ready, and Koundé. Yeah. And Bowler and De La Fuente. And
what do you think, Costa?
You think De La Fuente could play? No, he's not on the list. Bowler could play. Bowler could play on Thursday night.
De La Fuente has been coming up in U.S. news, by the way.
As being shit.
They were talking about him having some troubles in Greece, not playing, blah blah blah.
I wonder if he's going to go public with it at some point. I don't know. Maybe when
Costa, what do you think
about the Nantes game?
Should he rest players?
I mean, let's look at it realistically. I think Pascalakis should play. You need to just consistently keep him. He's our number one. Pascalakis plays. At right back, we don't really have much choice because Vesalko is Vesalko. And that's a player that I've completely given up on.
Me too.
I've given up on him.
Oh man!
So that means Retsos. Could you play Retsos at right back? Bear in mind, we don't have much choice at the back. Andreas Doi is basically our number one centre back for me right now. That's something we need to talk about. So Socrates is coming back from injury. You don't want to. Do you want to risk him? Are we going to go to Leoforos and play with Envila at the back and play Samaseku? You see, like there are these variables. Like, do we play Samaseku against Panathinaikos so that we can bring Envila back to play with Doi? But then, do you rest Envila against?
And Villa's injured as well. He has a small knock, right?
Yeah. I think Bouchalakis and Koundé will probably play in midfield. We've done that a lot in Europe this season. I think you need to rest Inbom Huang and have him fresh for the Panathinaikos game. And then, up front, what are we going to do with El Arabi?
You play with Joe, baby. You play Joe. His last game for the club.
You could play him against Nantes because obviously it's going to be.
Is he going to play? Is he going to play in Leoforos? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he'll start.
He's going to start Bakambu
next weekend.
He's going to start Bakambu at Leoforos, so he could start at Nantes. I mean, I guess I have to agree with Concept Calcio. There needs to be a balance because I do think that another thrashing at the Karaiskaki could kind of dampen Olympiakos' spirits, and plus, like a win over a competitive side could light a little candle underneath the players' asses. Although they will be missing some important players, but yeah, I think balance is key in this because you also need it for morale reasons. But I gotta say, guys, I'm looking. I mean, recently I wrote a blog post about important players and key men to build the team around build the team around that inflated roster. And I have to say, I've been looking at some stats from certain players who are slowly becoming talismanic. They've only played a few games, but let's take James Rodriguez, for example. 2 goals, 1 assist in 5 league matches so far. Cedric Bakambu, 4 goals, 1 assist in 6 league matches so far. Pep Biel, 2 goals, 1 assist in 6 league matches so far. Alexandros Paschalakis, 4 matches across all competitions, that's Super League and Europa League, 4 matches, 3 clean sheets. Something is indeed being built at Olympiakos right now, and there are some key players that can really spearhead a sort of late push to the top. But in order for this to happen, Olympiakos have to beat Panathinaikos on Sunday. Like, I cannot see it happening without a win on next Sunday, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I think, what about Carlo Yeropoulos? He's been in the squad list. Why not play him Thursday?
Yeah, sounds good.
Michel seems open to playing youngsters. I know it's a bit of a shitty ask for him because he hasn't played any football like Doi. You know, it's a bit shit to play these kids when they haven't even played with the B team because the B team is stuck in the Greek second division, which still hasn't started. It's like the worst league in the world. So I don't know.
It's all about balance. Like I said, like I agree with Calcio. It needs to be balanced.
Your midfield of Koundé and Bouchalakis is experienced enough. Let's say you play, I don't know, even at the 10, you can play Valbuena or something. I don't know.
Out.
He's out. What do you mean he's out?
He was injured.
Oh, right, he got injured. Right. Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was growing. Had an issue.
He's going to be out for probably a couple of weeks.
Personally, I don't want to play BL on Thursday. I don't want to because he's for sure a starter for me. I play Wee Joe. I played Bowler. I that sounds ridiculous, but like give him fucking 90 minutes and be like, this is your last chance. Like show something. It's kind of a shitty place to put him as well, but just like go ahead and give it a go, bud. And then you play Versailles, you play whatever, you play some of these young kids that they have, and
I think at the end of the day he's going to mix things up a little bit, but I do agree with what Costa said and a few of you in the comments as well. You don't want to you want to win that game. you want to win it. It helps the confidence of the squad going into the game against Panathinaikos. It's not about we need it for the coefficient, for Olympiakos' ranking, which this game is important because we've slipped to number 42, I think, in the rankings. But I care less about that. I think, a good result against Nantes is respectable way to go out of the Europa League, and then it builds confidence going into the Panathinaikos game within the squad. I think that's the best that we can hope for. So I don't expect like a mass rotation or this, to see Sapoudzis or like Kalogeropoulos or some other kids getting starts against Nantes on Thursday.
Also,
Agreed.
supposedly, Michel was asked like whether he's people making fun of him, like whether he's a real
press
coach.
conference.
Yeah, I heard about, like, I saw it on Twitter. Supposedly, someone's like, "Oh, people like don't even call you a real coach" or some shit. Did someone really ask him that? I just saw it on Twitter.
There was a journalist in the press conference today, and he was asking him to comment on comments of his fellow journalists or comments on social media about him not being in
Real
Greek
coach.
it was ότι δεν είναι προπονητής, ότι είναι διαχειριστής. And then the way it was translated in Spanish was that he was an administrator and he didn't really understand it. But I've always said, like, it's the difference between being a manager and a coach. Like, he's more of a manager for me than a coach. Like, do you know what I mean? That's kind of the way
the talent's too good to be there. Almost like it's like, and you look at the teams of Michel, which did it in Europe, and it's like Maniatis and Dinga, like, like they're not like world beaters per se, like Botia, but that was like the prime, whatever. It's not, but like he has a lot more talent these days, and it's not fucking rocket science. It's like you have Bakambu who smashes in goals, you have Pep Biel who's a quality player, you have James Rodriguez set up 4-2-3-1 and let it rock, baby. Like that's. Like, I make that sound very easy, but you know what I mean, guys. Like, it's not a fucking rocket scientist,
Λοιπόν, καλώς τα παιδιά. You got a Panathinaikos fan here. Ό,τι κάνετε στη Ριζούπολη θα είναι τίποτα μπροστά σε αυτά που σας περιμένουν. Θα δείτε τι θα πάθετε. Τι θα πάθουμε, ρε μεγάλε? Τι θα πάθουμε, ρε μεγάλε? Ακόμα πονάει η Ριζούπολη, Still hurts. All right, before I block you. Άντε.
The thing about a lot of Panathinaikos and anti-Olympiakos fans is that they don't understand Rizupoli. They don't understand that after Rizupoli, literally no one was saying the things they are saying right now. On the contrary, they were all very angry with the Panathinaikos team and Panathinaikos players for bottling it. Still, people don't understand what happened in Rizupoli. They don't understand the concept. Anywho.
They're also talking like they won the league already. Like, relax, guys.
Guys, I'm going to be honest with you.
We're 10 games into the season.
If Panathinaikos win the league this season, you have no idea how arrogant they're going to be. Like, I almost forgot how arrogant they're going to be. They're going to be really arrogant if they win.
Okay, like let them. I don't know. Like, fuck, I don't know.
No, but seriously, the whole Rizopoli thing. Like, if you look back at some of the games that we've played in Duba or in Leoforos, or seriously, like. The moral authority they think they have because of what happens, like just shut up and like let's enjoy the game next weekend and like watch a football match that's clean.
Also, I want to say something too. We haven't seen Greek fan shit show in so long. If shit starts going south for Panathinaikos with all the pressure next week. How many times were there riots or fucking gas and games canceled and bullshit? Like, it would not surprise me to see shit go south next weekend. Like, we haven't seen this big of a game, and like the pressure is so big, the atmosphere is going to be tense. Like, we've seen a lot of shit over the years. Like, I think we have a recency bias, like the riots, the charging the field, the blah, blah, blah. Like, we've all seen this story before. Like, that can also happen, I'm also thinking about it. Like, as someone who's not born yesterday, it happens.
We have a big opportunity next week to knock down the house of cards, because I'm going to say this. Panathinaikos, for me, like as Ari said, is overperforming, that's gonna it will end. It will end, and we all hope that we're the ones that knock them down next week. But you know who the threat is for me this season? It's not Panathinaikos, it's AEK.
Ike is fucking good, man.
They're
Like, Ike is
good.
good.
That's a good team.
Like you
Yeah.
watch them tonight.
Almeida's got them
fuck,
playing
they're
football.
flying,
They've
man.
got
Like,
pace up front. They have pace. They've got clever forwards. Got good midfielders. Like some decent. Like he's built a good team, and they have the enthusiasm from the stadium.
there's
Like,
no one's gonna win in Philadelphia this season. Like, I swear to God, like you watch every game and it's the atmosphere's like with Ionikos, it's like the place burns down. Like the atmosphere is so crazy. I agree. And when I watch Ike play in comparison with Panathinaikos, I like fucking Levi Garcia is such a gun, man. Like he's really good. I don't know.
he's put him up front, and he uses the pace.
It's a good championship overall. Surprisingly, PAOK is the one team that's really tragic, and it's disappointing that we drop points to them because I really think they're not a very good team this season. But anyway, I do think this idea of like Panathinaikos running away with the league is a bit premature, and people can say whatever, but I don't know. There's a lot of football to be played. There's a lot of derbies to be played. There's a lot of shit that happens. And like they've not faced any diversity. I'm really interested. I believe more that maybe they can win the league if they get hit with some more diversity. Like, fuck, they drop points away somewhere, they lose somewhere. Do they bounce right back, or do they kind of like drop points again? You know, I'm interested to see kind of how it goes. I think this weekend could be really big for the championship.
It will be regardless.
If Olympiakos don't win, this is it. It's lights out.
It's the biggest derby in Greek football I can remember, or the biggest derby between Olympiakos Panathinaikos I can remember since forever. Like forever.
Yeah. Because it hasn't mattered. We like for the last few seasons, we've been so far away. Like we haven't cared. Now the result really matters. But the comment that you had just brought up from Concept Calcio about their strength, I mean, that in defense, that has been their strength. Like that's one thing where it is performing where it's performing where it should be statistically, and their defense is very tough. It's very strong. So even maybe if the offense and the scoring comes back to earth a little bit, their defense has been solid with going forward, and that's where the strength lies. But I think there's two players I think we need to talk about real quick before we move to our man of the match and coaches great segment and close everything up. We brought him up briefly. Costa, I think it was you that brought him up when we first started the show and talked about, or maybe it was Lambro. I don't remember. Somebody brought up Ndoye and how he played well and how he was one of the gems. And then someone we very briefly talked about was Samaseku. And Samaseku he didn't, maybe in the grand scheme of things, didn't do anything super important, but he does everything that you want to look easy, and he makes it look easy. He can distribute the ball pretty well, and things can move through him. It's very nice to have another six like that that can move the ball around very easy. He's very confident on the ball too. He's very physical. The guy runs up and back constantly, and the work that he does is very thankless. And if you weren't somebody that valued that work and paid attention to it, you probably wouldn't think he did much all game. He's not a guy that's going to be involved in a lot of our end product, but he's a guy that's going to do dirty work, get the ball moving, get it out, create an outlet for somebody deeper in transition or as we're beginning to move the ball forward. And I thought he had a great game today, and it was nice to have somebody. The way he played is kind of like how I wished Bouchalakis could be. More consistent, stronger on the ball, more calm at times. He seems like he's a very mentally strong player as well. And Ndoye, man, I am so proud of this kid. This is like being played out of position and then dealing with on his debut the adversity he dealt with, that with the unfortunate own goal. and then just coming right back, man, and just each position. He plays like a dog. He goes after everything. He's very physical, very aggressive. I love it, man. The kid's strong. He just kept pushing forward. I love that kid. So I was happy with both those players today. At the very least, Samaseko made me feel like we have bench options, somebody on the bench at least that I'm comfortable playing as maybe that more bulldog in the midfield, or somebody that we can replace Mvila with to rest him or when he's not available. That's how I felt when I saw that today. How did you guys see both these players? Lambo, go ahead. You start.
Oh, Doi is fantastic. It's an example of why we want to see it more. And I think I did a podcast with Marcelo. It was just me and him. And not every youth player has to be Doi. And who knows what Doi becomes. Doi could become a player who never turns out for Olympiakos or doesn't have a big career. But it's also just like, you never know if you don't play these players. You never know. And it's just like, it's a breath of fresh air. Not every youth player will turn out like Doi. You'll have players who turn out like, I don't know, Vergos or something like that from the first run of Michel. But sometimes you just need to give it a chance because, to be honest, me and Marcel talked about it. When you play the Lamias of the world, you can play Kalogeropoulos along with Socrates and Jan Mvila, and they will kind of like make sure it's okay because it's Lamia. It's not Barcelona. It's not Freiburg even. And they turn out. And so what's happened with Doi is actually super exciting. And Marcel, again, and I talked about this. The idea, it seems like Michel understands this, you know. If you play Doi alongside Socrates, Pascalakis, and Jan Mvila, it's going to be okay. Like Pedro Martins had this idea, like you play a youth player and we're going to cop 4 goals and we're fucked. Or Pedro Martins had the guy like, let's play all 11 youth players in the cup and just run them out. Like that is the mistake. The real way of doing this is you have an experienced player next to them against a smaller team and let them, they'll make a mistake, but it's not going to cost you the game, right? And they'll build up. And again, these players may not turn into star players, but for fuck's sake, excuse me, Cafu is not a star player. Thiago Silva is not a star player, etc., etc. It's fine, you know? And if they're not a star player, great. We found out that, I don't know, some youth player at Olympiakos is not good enough. He can move on and move his career on, right? That's what I want to see and what I enjoy with Doi. And again, Doi is fantastic. He has the body. He's strong. His left foot's good. His right foot's clean. You can tell he's a midfielder because he knows how to make the pass. He's strong into tackles. I think Michel's decision to move into center back's the best decision he's ever made because mobility and within his hips, you see they're a bit slower. So turning, I don't know if he would have been the best midfielder, but defending, he's fantastic. He's good in the air. He's strong. He goes up, etc., etc. Fantastic. Samaseko on the other hand, you can see why this player like was produced from the Red Bull Academy and is considered, or he was bought by Red Bull. I forget how it went. Anyway, he's bought by Red Bull. You can see why a team like that would put a 13, 12 million euro option on the player. He's clean. His tackles are clean. Work rate's good. Positioning good. Fantastic player. Anyway, that's my long story. I'm really liking both of these players quite a bit, and I hope they get integrated into the team.
Kostasi?
I didn't see enough from Samaseko today, to be fair, but what little that I did see, he destroyed play really well. Like he intercepted the ball, he went into the challenges, and yeah, he was present in the midfield and he was breaking up the play and distributing it very nicely to get the attacks going. Early days to really like form an opinion, but those are the kinds of things that you want from a player that you've bought in to basically give Jan Mvila a rest from time to time. I think that he can do more. And like Labro said, there's a reason why he's valued so highly. I think he's actually the player in the Greek league that's, you know, the most valuable player in the Greek league from a valuation perspective if you look on Transfermarkt. So yeah, I would like to see him more. I think there's a big question mark over whether you start him next week in Leoforos with within Bonn, because I think given our situation at centre back, we may have to go there with Mvila and Doi at the back. And quickly on Doi, there's been quite a few comments, and this one for me from River, his passing ability, just his ability to play the ball forward. We haven't had a ball playing centre back like that since Ruben Semedo. Not comparing the two, but Semedo did that really well. He'd bring the ball forward elegantly and play the ball in between the lines. Sometimes he made risky passes, but this is something that Ndoi has been doing quite well in all the games he's played. He doesn't just look to play the ball sideways. He looks to play the ball in between the lines and get the ball moving forward, get the team moving forward. So I like that a lot. I like that he's not afraid. He's fearless. He'll go into the challenge and he will make mistakes and he will get caught out because he's a young player playing first team football for the first time in his career. So yeah, I'm excited for him. And yeah, let's make sure that, when he does make those mistakes, we don't all, jump on top of him. That best one up on fame, as we say in Greek.
Costa K, Samaseko and Doi.
I mean, you guys really covered some very important arguments. Doi, he really wants it. He's showing a lot of talent. He's showing a lot of dedication. He really wants to make the most out of his opportunity. I love the way that he plays the ball forward as a center back, his marking. I feel like Olympiakos have a very interesting gem on their hands. As for Samaseko, I liked his what I saw in his first start. I mean, he came highly recommended, and we saw why. He definitely needs to get more opportunities. Definitely needs to see more of Samaseko. Early days to be discussing, the possibility of even buying him for that kind of money at the end of the season. But he definitely needs to be shown more. He definitely needs to get more opportunities. And in my opinion, Doi and Samaseko need to be involved in Leoforos, both of them.
Yeah. Sounds like everybody seems to be of the same opinion regarding both those players. So on that note, boys and girls, we're getting to the end of the show. Some of your favorite segments, man of the match and coach's grade. So who wants to get started? Costa K, since you went last with the Samaseko and Ndoi segment, you can go first now. Give us your man of the match and your coach's grade.
Oh my God, that is actually really tough now to pick a man of the match in this kind of game. I don't know. I mean, I liked Bakambu and James Rodriguez's performance again. I think I would barely give it to James Rodriguez. He got a good goal, a strong performance by him. He's showing that he's definitely. One thing I told you guys, the WhatsApp group, is like, say what you want about Marcelo, but James Rodriguez definitely not a flop. On the contrary, like, the guy is picking together some talismanic stats for Olympiakos. He's not the 2014 James Rodriguez, but by God, he is really, really good and a real difference maker. And if we had him in Europe, I think it would have been completely different, in my opinion. I think Olympiakos at least would still be alive for that Nantes game. So a really good performance by James Rodriguez. As for coach's grade, well, I'd give it an A-. Got the win, but should have been more goals in there. An overall good performance, and hopefully we're going to see something better in the next bigger games to come.
Lambro.
Yeah, I was just reserving something. So I was so wrong about James Rodriguez because I thought Marcelo was going to be. I didn't think he was going to do it. I saw his body. I went to the celebration, though, with Marcelo. It was enjoyable. But after seeing Marcelo, I was highly critical of the transfer. I was as well of James Rodriguez. And I'm going to say I was wrong. And I think one of the bigger things you can do sometimes, and what I try to do on this podcast when people call me out and say something, like, I'll admit I was wrong about James Rodriguez. But two, I still do have doubts about his body. I don't know what it is with James Rodriguez, the way he moves, the stiffness, the running. I do worry about that. So I'm just going to say that. Like, I don't know if you guys see this as well, but he runs very, tall, right? Like, I don't know how to explain. Anyway, this is for another time. But like I was wrong on this. He's not been a flop so far. He's been one of our best players. But I am concerned because physically there's this weird dimension to him. Maybe he's still getting fit as well. Let's see. But he'll be my man of the match tonight. Yeah, I was wrong about James. Thank you for putting that up. And my coach's grade, personally, I thought it was a good starting 11 from Michel, other than this clown show we go on with Oleg Repchuk every game. I would have started Marcelo today to see if he could go next week in Leoforos. I would have started him to see if he could do it. That's one mistake. Also, personally, I would have brought Fortunis on. I think this Fortunis should have gotten a chance because he could be a game changer next week in Leoforos. He's been there. He's done that. But I think B+. And also, actually, George gives up a good point. I think it has to go A- because his suits are really nice and his dress shirts are very good. Like, I really do like his suits. Like, they're fantastic. So yes, A-. No, B+. B+.
Costa, see.
Yeah, so I did the player ratings this time for the channel. It was a tough one for me, and I'm going to go and have a look at what the fans have been saying here. So we've put a poll on the channel, vote your man of the match, Rodriguez, Inbom Huang, and Andres Doi. And when we started it, Inbom was in the lead, and now we're at 57% of you who voted James Rodriguez, 34% of you have voted Inbom Huang, and 9% of you Andres Doi. Yeah, it was a tough one to call because I think that Inbom is really kind of an unsung hero in this team. The amount of touches he gets on the ball, and actually today it was less than usual. I think I looked, at least on SofaScore, Ari, when you look at the when you look at Y Scout, it'd be interesting to see what they have there. But it was about 60 touches, and normally he's getting close to 80 or 100.
100, yeah, 150 yeah. Without what against Panathinaikos, crazy.
But yeah, so like he really is the engine of the team moving forward, and I think it's he's really such a key player in this team, and you saw it in Europe. He started one match. He started one game against Freiburg the other day, and we nearly stole it. We nearly stole a win with him in midfield. He's really critical, and I hope that it's a player that we can enjoy for more than one season, because there are bound to be clubs looking at him, and offers will come for sure. So I don't want to overlook him. I think that we're so used to getting what we get from him every game consistently that there is already a tendency to overlook and go to the star players like James Rodriguez. James Rodriguez gets man of the match for me because he opened the scoring, and it was an absurd goal. It was just a ridiculous goal. And we were chatting right after it went in, and some of us were saying, "Oh, I didn't mean that." But you saw the replay, and he's actually looked at the goal, and he's meant to do that. His reaction, everything afterwards was really brilliant. On Labro's point, that's something that I think, Ari, you and I talked about that last week, maybe. He does look a bit stiff, or just like his pelvis movement sometimes. It doesn't stop him from unleashing the quality, though. Like the little kind of dinks with the outside of the left foot, like to play like a 3-meter pass. And he's just like, the things he does with with the ball and with his left foot. It's poetry in motion. And this is bordering blasphemy, but it's close to like Rivaldo-esque. Like, we haven't seen those Fiari free kicks, but like just the touches and the way that he caresses the ball with the left foot. It's a privilege that we have a player like that on this team. And the scary thing is, he's not fit. I think he's at like last week I said he's at 50%. This week I think he's got to 55, 60. he's gonna loosen up. Like that flexibility in his movement and everything, that will come. I do believe that if he can stay injury free, he will improve over the season. And yeah, not underestimating how important he is, guys. We're playing Panathinaikos 4 times. We're playing Balk 4 times. Like, finally, this season, the playoffs is going to mean something. And at the end of the season, the powers that be at EPO, they'll decide we don't want playoffs anymore. Yeah, I said it. 30th of October near midnight. Yeah, because if we win the league this season, you'll see there won't be playoffs next year. Anyway, coach, B+ for me. I think, he's starting to get consistency in the lineups. Got the result 2-0. Doesn't get an A for me because I'd rather see Fortounis coming on instead of Vrusai. I think it's ridiculous that Vrusai is above Fortounis in the pecking order. So that puts him down to a B+ for me.
Yeah, but suit, jacket, and shirt, A+.
Didn't like the tie.
Didn't like the tie.
I didn't like the tie.
I liked it. I like A+.
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
A+ for outfit. So,
but also,
for me,
real quick about James Adi. Like, you guys, I watched him a bit at Real Madrid. I remember
I watched him a lot at Real Madrid. And he was more mobile.
The hips were looser back then, right? Like, he wasn't always running so up tall, right? Like, am I wrong?
No, yeah. There's like you saw more agility with. At least that's how I remember it, because I remember he was, especially when they were using. You had coaches that actually used a 10, and he was kind of all over. But yeah, I know what I understand what you're.
He seems so tall, almost. Like, I don't know if you guys, but like he's almost like standing like this with his chest. So like it's so weird to me sometimes when I watch him. But that's just random shit I notice, and no one else cares about. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see as because he's looking better and better and like more involved for longer in the game every week. But he's gonna be my man of the match as well. I've always said that the man of the match for me is the individual that put us in the most chances to get the win. And Inbom Huang is a huge shout because he did a lot of great things. He had 2 lovely passes also. Like defense cutting passes. We do take Gosa was 100% right. We do take for granted like how consistent he is, because like even on the games where like we say, oh, he had like an okay game, like his okay game is still like a level above some players' good games. You know what I mean? So we're so fortunate to have a player like him. I was super excited about really 2 signings this season. One was Inbom Huang, the other one was James Rodriguez. Maybe James was more because I love what he did at Real Madrid, but love both those guys. I saw shots for Bakambu. The reason I'm not going to touch Bakambu, Bakambu got the goal, but he doesn't really do a lot in the game otherwise. He doesn't get a lot of touches on the ball. If he had a dozen passes this game, I'd be surprised. But he moves around a lot, and he's very efficient when he gets opportunities in front of goal, and I respect that, but that's not enough for me to give him a man of the match. So I'm going to stick with James Rodriguez. He did great today. Costa, the Rivaldo thing you brought up, I will say this: James Rodriguez, every cross, every set piece, it feels like it's dangerous and it goes somewhere. He puts him, and that's what I remember with Rivaldo as well. Like, it's so nice to have someone like that, because I've always valued, like when Kostas Fortounis used to take set pieces for us, I always valued that. But man, let me tell you, James Rodriguez takes some great set pieces. So
night and day.
It's absurd. So anyway, I'll stop the fanboying. He's my man of the match. Coach's grade. Like you guys, I'm gonna go B+ as well. There were two knocks I had for Michel. The first was Costa, exactly what you said about him not bringing Fortuny in. 3. I'll add the fact that I, should have played Doran Ledner, or maybe even seen Marcelo, not Oleg. I still don't see the point of starting him against Lamia, but whatever. That's a whole different thing altogether. But third, another problem I had, when Valbuena started to show the issues and he was limping and not able to run, take him back out. We
didn't have subs.
Oh, that's right. We had a first half sub. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I've been annoyed.
But I
about
would
that
still
for
have taken Valbuena out. Like, play 10 men with Lamia for 5 minutes, dude. Like,
Yeah, that was
10
that
minutes.
looked bad.
Sorry.
It looked bad. Like you could just tell then the way he was like limping around. That looked
Yeah.
horrible. But good call. That's right. I
El
completely
Arabi
forgot.
had a run down the center, and Valbuena was running down the right, almost decoy, as a decoy. Do you guys remember that? And it worked because the left fullback, the left fullback for them kind of followed Valbuena, but Valbuena was faking it
Yeah.
until you make it, you know. And El Arabi went down the other side, but it was
Now he's gonna be gone like a month. So,
no, probably he's 38 years old. Like you pull a
38.
hamstring, like that's
yeah.
really hard to fix.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Well, boys, we're gonna begin and wrap up here. Any closing thoughts from everyone before we wrap it up?
I think my closing thought is positive thoughts going into the weekend, and you know, I know Gate 7 put out a statement saying they want to do an open practice to support the team. I think that's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Let's do that. Let's support the team, and if you're in the area, I would say go support the team at the practice, man. Like we're going into one of the biggest derbies Greek football scene, I think, in years, or Olympiakos Panathinaikos has seen in years. You know, it's a shame that people abroad can't really watch it, but that's an issue for another day.
Yeah, and I did see all the comments about that, guys. I was going to address that before we close up. We haven't stopped working on it. I'm not going to say, I don't want to say anything about it being something that's hopeless. It's difficult. It is a very difficult situation to manage. There's a lot more, I'll say copyright issues and like zoning issues than I've ever imagined in my life. It's all things that we're learning about as we peruse this. So we're doing our best to try and find a solution or assist and make the individuals that have the decision authority aware of solutions and aware of things that can be done. So we are doing our best and everything that's within our power to do so, to try and make something for that. But it is something that we are looking out for all the time, guys. We haven't stopped ever since we brought it up. We are continuing to try and find ways for people outside of Greece, so that we can continue to have more people be able to watch, because there's people all over the world that want to watch this team now, because of the players that we brought in, because of who Olympiakos is and the name that keeps growing every year. So we're going to keep working on that for you. We're going to keep trying our best to help and provide better solutions for you in that regard. Costa, you guys got anything moving forward?
Like
Nothing.
I said, Olympiakos have to win have to beat Panathinaikos. There's no other way around it, in my opinion. I don't think Olympiakos can talk about the title, about winning the title, if they don't beat Panathinaikos. I mean, minus 13, that's not manageable, in my opinion. But a minus 7, that could really, really change things. That could really bring Olympiakos back in the title picture. So yeah, there's no other way for Olympiakos.
Costa, you got anything, buddy?
No, the thing I'll end with is, we need 4 wins until the World Cup comes and it starts. I mean, in the league,
November 18th.
Yeah, we're talking about the league. We need to win all the games we have left. It's more important for the mentality. I think we need that big win that we haven't had all season against Panathinaikos next weekend. It will change things for us, and it will test them as well. Then we'll really see what they're made of as well. So yeah, got days ahead to think about that. That's all I got.
Would be nice payback as well, like ending their undefeated streak like they did twice, if I remember correctly, with Olympiakos. That'd be a nice payback.
Yeah.
Everyone's expecting them to win.
Yeah.
Everyone's expecting them to win. Yeah.
It's weird. We're the underdog going into it.
Yeah.
How weird is that? Yeah.
Whatever. Hey.
Could take advantage of that,
Exactly.
A bit of arrogance, get in there.
We'll see what the Bet US odds. Maybe there's some betting opportunities for us, guys. Anyway, Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in, especially those of you that made it this far. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to be notified anytime that we're going live, anytime we have any kind of content that's going live, whether it's Olympiakos DC, who are getting ready for their playoff hunt, or whether it's scouting reports during transfer seasons. You name it, hit the bell if you want to be notified of any of the good stuff that happens here. If they do allow an open practice, and if you are able to make it, send us your footage if you guys go. We'll share videos on our socials. We always do. You guys that are at the stadiums, we get people DMing us pictures and videos. We love to share that kind of stuff. So please, if you guys are ever on the field, if you guys are ever at a practice, something like that, please feel free to share your photos with us. We will credit you with everything. And we are always more than happy to share all of that. So thank you guys again. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans, and we'll see you next time.